What's up, everybody, and welcome in to the PHNX Suns podcast. I'm Lindsay, that's Gerald, that's Espo, and that's Saul. The Phoenix Suns blessed us with a beautiful win last night over the Denver Nuggets. It's always a good day when the Suns beat the Nuggets. It's always a good day after as well when the Suns beat the Nuggets. Looking back on last night's game, Saul, since you weren't on the post-game show, what stood out to you?
Honestly, I know the DNVR peeps are probably making excuses because they think they played like shit, but we played like shit in the fourth quarter and we still won. So I feel like everything evened out because they had a bad second quarter. We had a bad fourth quarter. We went to overtime and then we spanked them. And that's kind of my biggest takeaway is that we were resilient enough to not be bothered in the first quarter by getting down a little bit. Came back and then they proved it again in overtime. I thought it was their best win of the season just because of the hurdles that they've been, kind of going up against. The rhetoric outside of the team, obviously, with the record after the All-Star break. I was really, really inspired by the way they played last night.
Yeah, I went back and watched a bunch of it, and I think they did a great job at times of playing inside out, driving to the hoop. Bradley Beal was, and I went back and listened to us too. And my approach, like we talked about last night on saying Bradley Beal was not good, was not fair. His shots were not falling. His aggressiveness was there, what you needed, and led to at least a handful of those Bradley Beal threes as well. And another person I wanted to give a little bit more credit to was Drew Eubanks. Nurk fouls out. Drew comes in and does an admirable job in terms of defensively, cuts in the lane offensively, got a couple dunks there. I think he, after taking as much slander as he has over the last couple of months, deserved a little extra praise on my part. But the biggest thing that stood out to me, again, looking back, was Frank Vogel had some defensive adjustments, some different things that he did in that game and that I really liked. It was encouraging to see them make some of the adjustments from the previous game to this Nuggets game and what they were able to do. And that may have been one of the worst games I've ever seen Nikola Jokic play there, which, partially you got to give the Suns credit defense. You could say, oh, he played a bad game, the Nuggets were off, whatever, but you also got to give the Suns defense some credit as to that. It wasn't as if it was simply they missed every shot and they were terrible. It was, no, the Suns were making it difficult, jumping and passing lanes, doing things that when this team plays to their peak, they do. They forced a lot of turnovers, in particular from Jokic.
Defensively, it was probably one of their best games of the season for me. Just to hold the Nuggets to 107 in regulation would have been good, but to do it with 5 extra minutes on there, that's really impressive. Grayson Allen did a really nice job just making things difficult for Jamal Murray, for KCP, chasing guys around screens. I know we've been hard on Eric Gordon as well, and he didn't play well offensively when you look at his numbers, but defensively, he was, navigating screens really well, challenging a lot of shots. He came over on one play where Jokic had the ball and turned, spun right into EG, and he picked his pocket. Like, just little things like that. They were really locked in on that side of the ball. And, we keep going back to that December 27th game when things started to turn in the right direction. Suns are still a top 10 defense in that time. They've been a lot better on that end. They're moving in the right direction. And that's kind of all you need as long as the offense keeps moving the ball the way that we saw last night.
The other thing I will point out, after watching the game again, I did think that they adjusted throwing the ball to KD on the block or, kind of block extended to free throw line extended. And that higher advantage And Denver wasn't throwing the double team nearly as aggressive as the teams in the past were, but still they were every now and then trying to flash and recover. And when that was happening, it gave KD more of a vantage point of the whole court as opposed to just facing out.
Yeah.
And then using the baseline in the corner. The defense using the baseline and corner to their advantage as like a second or a third or fourth defender. And I thought that made a lot of difference because he was able to get the ball out of his hands. And I thought their action was just they tweaked it just a little bit to where, they would throw the ball to KD, Beal would turn around and go around, get back over to his spot, and then they would kind of go into their action instead of just everybody standing and just watching. You know what I mean? And I thought that small little bit is all you need for Kevin Durant to be able to be as effective as he needs to be.
Yeah.
And I also think that Denver completely effed up. Like why they wouldn't just keep doing what everybody else was doing and throwing aggressive doubles and triples at him is beyond me. You got to make the Suns prove it. They had struggled doing that, but last night they didn't, and KD took advantage of it in overtime.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go to it in overtime because the Suns kept isolating Michael Porter Jr., as you so eloquently put it, Michael Pigeon Jr. In that overtime, and I was shocked they weren't running that double because Bradley Beal hit a few late fourth and in OT, but he had struggled. Grayson had cooled down, and really they let KD beat him in the final 5.5 minutes there.
Can I point something out about Grayson cooling off?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Okay. Listen, my man hit 2 crazy threes coming out of halftime. And I'm like, every time down the court, he needs to touch the ball.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And he took that heat check from just a little bit after half court, just to kind of see if he still had it. And then he didn't hit it. And I know what was going through his head. He was like, okay, that was a little far out. I was just trying to see if I was like really, really on. Yeah. And then he took that corner 3 and he was like, damn, maybe I'm cooling off. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man, feed my man.
Yeah. And that's a good point. It feels like we've talked about the Suns' 3-point attempts, but like Grayson, his production, and this is something Stephen Pridgeon Gardner tweeted before the show, like it's a pretty good barometer of how well the Suns are moving the ball. When they're not moving the ball and Grayson's not touching it and they're going ISO heavy ball, Grayson's just going to be that guy in the corner that he kind of was in Milwaukee a lot of the time. But when they are moving the ball, when they're getting drive and kicks, when they're playing with pace, that's when Grayson is really able to assert himself and get higher quality shots. It's something to keep an eye on because on the nights when they do get 30 plus attempts and when Grayson is really involved, that's usually a pretty good indicator like, hey, the Suns are doing well with their ball movement.
Well, and I feel like in order to get to that 30 plus attempts too, you do have to get him involved.
Yeah.
Like if you're just relying on KD, Book, and Beal to take those shots, or KD, Book, and Royce O'Neal, whichever the third one is going to be that night, I feel like it's just not enough firepower. Like Grayson is so intricate to that.
I think more importantly, it's the rhythm. It's the rhythm of the offense and the ball movement. You know what I mean? Like when you don't know when you're going to get the ball in your position or in your spots and everything's kind of, helter-skelter, it's hard to really get into a good rhythm. Grayson doesn't touch the ball every possession. KD does for the most part. So does Booker. Sometimes Beal. But when you're a role player, you also need touches to kind of get into a rhythm too. And the way that ball was whipping around, Grayson could sit in that corner and know, like, okay, I can anticipate this about to happen. You start to get in that nice little groove. You can set yourself up internally for those possessions, and you're good to go. And I think Grayson is very much, he can be rhythmic like that from time to time.
Well, and I think it's contagious for the entire team as well. Like, when the ball's moving, everyone just feels like they're on a string. They feel like they're connected. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel so broken and disjointed like we've seen sometimes this season. But Gilbert in the chat said DNVR really thinks that was our A game last night. While I agree to an extent of what you said off the top of the show, Saul, about it being one of our better games because of the resiliency like we talked about last night that they showed throughout this one, I don't think it was our best outing as a whole.
No, I don't think so either.
The second quarter was the potential that you see, but
I think we've seen like, what was it? The Timberwolves game early on in the season was super fun. If Denver, listen, it's DNVR. Denver hates the Suns. I can't blame you guys for that. But if they really think that is the Suns' A game, I think the ceiling is so much higher for the Suns. It's just a matter of, can you do it? Or can you do it consistently?
Yes.
It's also that smugness that they have about this, right? Like I'll say it. I'm not afraid of Eric Weedham. Like this is like there's so, like in the pregame show they weren't even talking. They're like, the Suns. Let's think about the Celtics, and they started talking about the Celtics more than they were talking about the Suns. Like, come on, man.
To be fair, in our pregame show we were all like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Like, I mean, yeah, that's all well. Like, listen, just. You gotta focus one game at a time, DNVR. I'm just saying, you gotta focus one game at a time.
Don't skip steps.
Don't skip steps.
Did you hear about Did you hear about the guy that picked Suns money line on bets yesterday?
No.
Yeah, he was pretty smug too.
He sounds like a smart man.
He's also like hella cute.
Damon got better at making picks. Is that what happened?
Maybe I need to start watching bets again because I absolutely suck this year at making bets on this team.
Can we talk about one negative thing? And it's something that has bothered me all year, and I noticed it again rewatching things. It's the Nurkic where a guy cuts behind him and he tries to do that handoff pass, and it winds up being lazy and just getting.
Oh, it's just a dribble handoff.
Like I don't why is that such a difficult thing to accomplish? It should be extremely easy, and he makes such difficult passes at times, but that continues to seem like one of those. You get at least one or two turnovers out of that. And in a night where they were very good turnover-wise, that happened twice.
I think it's because of how often they do it. Like, we notice the ones where it gets turned over, but they do it a lot more than that goes smoothly. Yeah. Like, he's one of the better ones in the league. I think part of it is the people he's handing off to are KD and Beal. And KD and Nurk have really good chemistry, but there are going to be those possessions where you're just off on, okay, was he cutting or was he faking and going to back cut? Gotcha. I think that's part of it. And then Beal, they've had a couple possessions where they've like faked it or Beal's backdoored. He's hit him perfectly. And then another couple where he thought he was going through it to nobody there, or he thought he was coming this way and like let it go. And then it's like, oh shit, that's a live ball now. I think that's part of the working the feel out process, because Nurk he'll throw a risky pass every now and then. And this is something I'm writing about the Suns turnovers here in the near future. And Nurk, he has some ambitious feeds that he'll throw, and it's like a quarterback throwing into double or triple coverage sometimes, but he's really good at reading where his cutters are going for the most part. So something to keep an eye on, especially since Nurk and Beal haven't had as many games together as like KD and Nurk.
I think KD and Nurk, we talked about this a lot at the beginning of the season, their connection. I feel like we haven't talked about it enough lately, and that seems to be a trend that's happening on Suns Twitter right now. We saw Shane Young point it out today. Kellen Olson pointed out today. I know Eubanks did hold his own last night when Nurk fouled out, and kudos to him for that. But I just want to give an extra flower to Nurk for all he does for this team, because I feel like when you look at some of the numbers that those two guys were tweeting today on Suns Twitter, you can really see the impact that Nurk has, not just with him and KD, but with him and Beal and him and Book, comparatively speaking to other bigs on this team. The chemistry there is chef's kiss with those three.
He had that great pass to KD for that crazy layup that KD made last. There's a couple of moments every game where you go, I don't know how Nurkic got that ball where he got it and how they pull that off. Like we all were like, oh, fit. Yeah, that's why Nurk. No, you see it visually. What they said in the offseason, he fits what they're trying to do. And it may not be 31 rebounds or 22 points every night. But even in the nights where the stat line isn't fantastic, there's little moments that you go, this guy is the perfect big for this group when they're together.
I mean, Frank Vogel gave him some kudos last night too, as being one of their better offensive players, even though when you look at the points on the box score, it's not the same, but how he affects the game is so invaluable. But Triple B in the chat did say that DNVR did give Nurk credit for his first half play last night. They said, quote, Nurk was taking Jokic lunch money from him. I love that for them.
He was great last night. He's, like we said last night, he's one of the few guys that can absorb that contact and not be stuffed in a locker when Jokic starts to back a guy down. And that alone is huge, because we saw it even with DA in last year's playoff series at times. That's a big difference if you don't have to constantly send doubles at Jokic. You still want to crowd his space, but if you have a guy that can hold his own one-on-one in certain possessions, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Green Water Theory in the chat said, how much of this game was DNVR having an off game or PHNX having a great shooting night? Probably both.
Are we talking the show or the teams?
The teams.
Okay. Because we didn't have a great shooting. Our percentage was a little low last night. We didn't connect.
I mean, I think like the part of it was the defensive end. Like the Suns played one of their best defensive games. I think the Nuggets might like DNVR might have been caught looking ahead to the Celtics game, especially without Book in this game. But I do feel like the Suns shot well from 3, but they didn't shoot well overall. They shot 44% overall. They didn't have like a really good hot offensive night or anything like that. Okay. So,
and they had more makes in OT than they did in the entirety of the fourth quarter.
They had more points too.
Yeah, they went scoreless for 4 minutes and 20 seconds in the fourth. That's not a great shooting night for the Suns, but they did enough, like you're saying, defensively where they could overcome that. Where other times where they have these fourth quarter collapses, the defense disappears too, and that's where you get a massive problem. So.
All right, guys, we do want to remind you that we are going to be hosting a tea party at Dobson Ranch on March 23rd. We're going to be hanging out there, watching the Suns play, hitting some balls, enjoying some drinks and food. We're also going to have contests, prizes, and merch available as well. It's going to be an absolute blast. Again, Saturday, March 23rd at 5 p.m. So come hang out with us and the crew at the Dobson Ranch driving range for a Suns watch party.
We just tested out their system yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so pretty sweet. It's way better than it was last year.
They upgraded it.
Oh, they upgraded it big time. It's definitely Lindsay.
Yes.
It looks like Fortnite.
Does it?
It does.
Yes.
The interface looks like Fortnite. It really does. And the games and the tracking system that we use is way more accurate than it ever was before. So we tested it out yesterday, and it was fun. And we have 3 different games that we're going to play with everybody. Then we're going to do the punting contest and the long drive and then 3-point shootout. So there's 6 opportunities for you to win. And we're doing team games instead of just individuals. So if you bring a foursome, you get to compete against other foursomes. And if you're single and you show up, we'll team you with other singles to create a foursome. So you got you.
What kind of party is this?
Hey, you don't want to know.
Drop your keys in the bucket on the way in.
We're just teeing up balls, Gerald. We're just teeing up balls.
Make it worse.
Not today. Go phnx.com for all the details and to get your tickets. Also, if you are looking for new floors to spruce up your home, look no further than Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop-at-home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. They also have a floor visualizer, which is my favorite part. You can check it out at empiretoday.com/PHNX. It allows you to see exactly what a brand new floor would look like in your space. So it kind of just takes the guesswork out of everything. I think that's the hardest part when making a big purchase or investment like flooring is, am I going to love this once it's actually in? Mm-hmm. Like getting a sample tile and putting it on the middle of the floor just doesn't do it justice. So that's where the floor visualizer really comes in handy. And you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off discount when you use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. But see empiretoday.com/PHNX for details.
Gerald, you brought up that kind of party, and I have a 3-legger for you here. It's the BetMGM parlay of the week, and I'm saying tomorrow, take the Suns money line, take the over, and take Katie's over on points, rebounds, and assists because they're playing the Raptors, and I feel like this is we're making a statement game after coming off a big win. We've talked about how they've had letdowns before. Mm-hmm. I think tomorrow night is going to be that, they took this one seriously kind of night at Footprint Center. So I'm taking those. That's my parlay of the week. So sign up for BetMGM. Use that bonus code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app for at least $5. You're going to receive $150 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Damon talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369-New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms. This promotional offer is not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Get stuffed, Ontario. And once again, Puerto Rico, we're sorry Flex represents you.
All right, guys. So we have gotten quite a few updates over the last 48 hours when it comes to Devin Booker and his sprained ankle. So we heard from Dwayne Rankin, it was 5 to 10 day period.
5 to 14.
5 to 14, I thought Shams said.
No,
Shams
he said
was
7 to 10.
Yeah.
That's right. So Dwayne Rankin, 5 to 14. Shams said 7 to 10 days. And then last night on the broadcast, Crispy Haynes said 3 to 7 days. So anywhere from 3 to 14 days is what we're looking at here when it comes to Devin.
Yeah.
So that means at any point in time and sometime in the future, Devin will return.
How great would it be if tomorrow's surprise press conference that the Suns announced was just to say Devin Booker's playing?
I mean,
it was 3 days, suckers.
I think I would be a little let down when it was teased as a major announcement.
I would be kind of pissed off. I'm not gonna lie.
How is that not major? Devin Booker's playing.
This is one of those. This could have been an email.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm skeptical of anything that's told to me as a major announcement with no details. All right,
That's fair.
But Crispy Haynes also went on to say that he was told that if last night's game was a playoff game, he would be playing, which is no surprise. I mean, it's Devin Booker. Of course he would be playing if it was a playoff game. I feel like he would push through just about anything to be out there with his team in the playoffs. But now that we've gotten an additional update, I know we talked about this on the pregame show. How are you guys feeling? What day is it going to be? 3 to 14. What's your pick?
I mean, 3 would have him back for the Celtics game over the weekend, which feels soon to me. I mean, I know Book. We know Book. He loves to come back early from shit that's supposed to take longer to return from.
Yes.
So hopefully he's not his own worst enemy again in that regard. But I'm still thinking it's sometime next week. They play, I think, Monday at Cleveland, and then they don't play again until Thursday. I think maybe those 2 days in between games could help him get right, maybe get a practice under his belt.
I've long just settled with the idea that I don't care.
I just want you to make a pick, though.
I know. I just don't care because, like, what is this going to do? It just teases my own emotions. So I'm just gonna live day by day and hope for the best.
Boo.
I hope he comes back for the Celtics.
What are you, a monk?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've grown a lot in the 2 days I haven't been on this pod.
Which Celtics? Saturday or next Thursday?
Doesn't matter, Lindsay.
No, pick one.
I just want him to play against the Celtics at some point.
Pick one.
I think winning against the Nuggets makes it less likely he tries to rush back
Mhm.
for the Celtics. I feel like if they had lost to the Nuggets, there's this, I got to get back. We got to prove that we're a contender, and the Celtics are the barometer. But by beating Denver, I think it's a little less of an onus to rush back. You know, I feel like it's easier for him to go, okay, I'm going to take, till next Thursday or whatever the case may be, and just let it rest, because he's got to learn from history. And history has told us, do not rush back, please.
Yes.
Please do not,
Definitely
because there's
not.
too much on the line.
You still rolling with Boston on Thursday next week?
I'm going to roll with Boston on
All right.
Thursday.
I'm going to still hang with Charlotte on Friday,
Okay.
the second night of that back-to-back there.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was Boston, just because that is a big game that I think he would want to play in.
Wait, don't they play Boston on
They play Boston
they-
on Saturday, and then they play them again on Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday? I thought it was Sunday.
No, they play the Milwaukee's on Sunday.
Oh, Milwaukee's Sunday.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So, a lot of big games.
A lot of big games.
Which if he rests, he comes back Thursday for Celtics, then doesn't go again until Sunday for Milwaukee.
So he
Like-
wouldn't play on Friday?
No, you wouldn't.
He could probably set that game,
Yeah.
I would hope.
I don't think you'd go back to back. So
Yeah.
so one of those two he comes back. I would think Thursday, because then you can take 2 days and then play that early game against Milwaukee, and hopefully you can win one of those two with him back and ease him back into it that way.
Yeah.
Plus you got to go see Dean Wade too, and that's scary.
Dean Wade,
Dean
baby.
Wade.
From Kansas State.
Oh, yeah. You're a big Kansas State guy. Forget that.
Emaw.
So another little nugget of information we got from Crispy Haynes last night was that the Suns will fill their 15th roster spot. before the end of the season.
Breaking news.
Dun, dun, dun. No, I'm just teasing him, even though he did actually say that. He also said that they would be potentially looking at a veteran player, maybe not a point guard. So that was kind of the actual real update there.
Yeah,
An
update about no update?
The update is it's not necessarily a point guard and that it's a veteran player, both of which we probably would have guessed. Thank you.
Dwight Howard?
God. Jesus. The only point guard that was on the buyout market that I was interested in was DeLon Wright, and he got scooped up. And then after that, it was Otto Porter Jr. come on down. Nope.
You didn't want Patty Mills, who was 15 or 5 years past his expiration
I had
date?
so many people being upset that we signed Ish to a third two-way contract and didn't get Patty Mills for the 15th roster spot, and I'm like, what are we doing here, guys?
Ish doesn't take that 15 spot.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't mind
it
Patty
could
Mills.
still
You're talking
happen.
about somebody that's only going to pay 5 to 10 minutes a game.
I wouldn't mind him, but people were legitimately upset. What are we doing? What is James doing? And I'm like, guys,
He's
two-way.
just chilling right
There
now.
is something really, really weird about this fan base and Ish Wainwright. He gets a lot of hate for somebody who doesn't play a lot.
It's so
Which doesn't
weird.
make
It's crazy.
sense.
And loves this team, loves this city, loves this fan
a
base.
genuinely good guy.
Right.
What is wrong with
I
people?
didn't have Ish Wainwright being a polarizing player on
No,
my bingo card
no.
for any
So
year
weird.
ever.
Everybody is polarizing.
You either
right now.
love
That's
Ish
true.
Wainwright or you hate him, and I'm like, but why though?
Yeah.
That's true. To his point, everybody's polarizing right
Right.
now.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Ish Wainwright, come on.
They could be like, you know what? We
The guy's
invented
a sweetheart.
Tomorrow's announcement could be, you know what? We invented a time machine, and we got Charles Barkley from 1992-93 to be the 15th guy on the roster, and we signed him to a minimum. And people would be like, what the hell? You wasted money on building a time machine instead of putting that towards next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
It's
But there's
crazy.
still time, y'all. And the Suns are looking around. They're going to leave no stone unturned when it comes to figuring out who the best option is for that 15th spot.
I feel like they have to go big man, right?
You think?
Yeah, because we've seen Nurk with the injuries, the foul trouble, and then it's Drew Eubanks, but if he doesn't have it, you going to Bull, or you have to default to Kevin Durant at the 5. I feel like you need a break glass in case of emergency big.
I think you have that in Thad Young, but we haven't seen much of him yet. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Is I wish Frank would give him a little bit more run here down the
I
stretch.
think that's fair.
I hope that we see it.
Maybe that is the case.
Yeah.
They're seamless. Seamless.
Let's transition.
You guys, we just kicked Saul out of the inner circle only because he had some really important things he had to go take care of. But don't worry, he'll be back in our inner circle at some point in time in the near future. And if you guys are looking for an additional inner circle to join, because you're already a part of ours, make sure you check out Circle K's because it is top notch. It's a free membership program. You save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. You can save 3 cents per gallon every day after that. And when you get VVIP, like Espo, you can save 5 cents per gallon every single day. So join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details.
Gerald, are there tickets to your wedding?
No.
If there were, how much do you think they would cost?
Well, I'm
sorry if I just derailed your whole
I'm
train.
gonna-
Well,
No,
no,
it's fine.
because I actually tried to sell my spot at his wedding, and now I'm concerned.
How much did you try to sell it for? What was the listing
you
price?
probably should have asked
Let's
for
just
more,
say
to be
I got about
honest.
10 pairs of the book ones.
Okay, that's
wow.
actually impressive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Why didn't you cut me in on this? I
Well-
could use some money after this wedding.
I mean, I told him it was a showing of Hamilton, not your
what?
wedding. But,
Wow.
so you can have somebody angry there that you're not singing
Uh-huh.
up on stage. But
How do you know I'm not going to be singing up on stage?
But
Are you?
No. God.
Well, now I don't want to go anymore. I just got so excited. Now I don't even want to go anymore.
Man, those the
Damn.
ticket value went up when you said that. But if I wanted to get last minute tickets to your wedding on the cheap, you know where I'd go? Game Time, because they have the best of deals on tickets last second anywhere. I mean, you can buy them early too. They got great deals then. But if you were procrastinating
Or
Game Time,
spontaneous.
or procrastinating, let's be honest.
Different generation.
Let's be honest. Spontaneous is just procrastinating in a
Well,
costume.
there's a little bit more of a positive.
No, it's
connotation to it.
procrastinating.
Let him yell at his clouds.
It's like, honey, I'm being spontaneous, or I forgot to plan our date originally. But if you're either of those things, Game Time's got you covered. I bought concert tickets for Up in Vegas, took my wife to see Kelly Clarkson, and got an unbelievable deal with Game Time to where I didn't have to mortgage the house to go up there. It was spectacular. I love using it. So snag your tickets without the stress using Game Time. And if you download the Game Time app, create an account and use the code PHNX, you're getting $20 off your first purchase. And in some cases, that's enough to cover your entire tickets. Terms apply. And again, create an account, redeem the code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
No lies behind those hazel eyes.
Oh boy.
Kelly Clarkson.
If you keep doing that, Amy's going to be Miss Independent and not have a wedding.
Oh, no.
There we go.
Oh no.
It's tough.
David in the chat, thank you so much. That's exactly what I'm going for.
Damn.
All right, guys. So there have been a lot of ups and downs throughout this Suns season. A lot of people are jumping ship already, and I don't blame you. I had one foot off the boat already. But JJ Redick is trying to calm us all down. Okay, let's listen to what he had to say.
I think the disappointing part to me is that we haven't seen enough of them all healthy and together. Durant's missed 7 games. Booker's missed 11 games. Beal has missed 29 games. Shannon, your point about expectations is a fair point. I would say this. Coming into the season, we talked a lot about how there were 10 really good basketball teams in the Western Conference. So given the amount of injuries they've had, the fact that they're sitting in 6th place, to me, that's not a disappointing thing. If you look at this data, and again, I hate sometimes using stats, but sometimes you have to. If you look at the data, there have been a bunch of teams that have had 5-man lineups play 250 minutes or more together. Only 5 of those lineups have outscored opponents by 10 or more points per 100 possessions. Phoenix is one of those lineups. Their starting 5 is one of those lineups. When they go small with Durant and Eric Gordon and Grayson Allen and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, they outscore opponents by 19 points per 100 possessions. When they've been on the court together, they've been a damn good basketball team. So the disappointing part is the injuries. It's not necessarily in the performance of the big 3 when they've been together. And I still think, I'll say this, we knew this coming into the season. This is the problem with building super teams. You are not going to have the depth to withstand one of your main guys getting hurt, especially in this conference. So, again, relative to expectations, I'm not disappointed given the injuries.
First and foremost, the comments in the chat talking about that person in that graphic. Chef's kiss.
It was Saul.
You guys are hilarious.
If you were wondering.
Hilarious.
Not lie to the people.
Back to what JJ
here.
Redick was saying. At the end of the day, he's more concerned about the injuries than he is the product on the court and the performance during the regular season. I think, Gerald,
I've maybe touched on that a few times before. Fuck, man. I
don't think I believe you still.
Breaking news.
I feel like a crazy person though, because there's such negativity after losses, and especially coming out of the All-Star break, you go 2-4, book goes down. And I'll be honest, like if you asked me, do I think the Suns are going to win a title this year? No, I would put the Celtics ahead of them. I put the Nuggets. I might even put the Clippers ahead of them in terms of likeliness to win the title. But I'm not counting them out yet either, because we've seen what they look like when they have their full complement of guys. We've seen Royce O'Neal come in and be a seamless fit. And, between their starting 5, Royce O'Neal and Eric Gordon when he's on, like that's a solid core 7. And JJ Redick went on First Take again this morning and said, I would put their top 7 guys against any top 7 in the NBA. And it's true. And when the playoffs start and your rotations get cut and it's a half-court game, you need to be able to run your stuff in the half-court. The Suns are a very good half-court offense. They're even more dynamic when they're in transition, obviously. But, like, their defense has been trending in the right direction. And I feel like all of these different looks that they've struggled with, having to play games without Book, having to play games without Beal, is good for them in these situations where one of these guys is going to be out for 3 to 4 minutes at a time. What are you going to do in those minutes? There are still very real concerns. The turnovers are a real concern. The fourth quarter, just lack of whatever the hell happens to them in the fourth quarter is a concern. But I do think that like they've shown us since late December what they're capable of when they're fully healthy. And so that's my biggest thing. Are you going to get enough reps before the playoffs start to make up for that continuity disadvantage? And that's what I've been saying since probably December at this point.
So it's not that I don't believe you.
But you don't
or
believe me?
JJ Redick, for that matter. It's that I don't have as much faith.
That's fair.
Does that make sense? Like, I get exactly what you guys are saying. Like, if we could throw health out the door, I'd be fully bought in on this team.
Right.
But we can't do that. And I think that's where the doubt, the concern, the panic, if you will, at times creeps in.
But I don't think anyone here, I don't think he or I have ever said like throw the health out the window.
No,
I think it's more like because like I said, I don't think that they're going to win this year because I don't think that even if they have 40 games with these guys, if Book comes back in 2 games, everybody stays healthy, they'll barely get to 40 with the big 3. I don't think that's enough in a playoff series against the Nuggets. It might not even be enough against the Clippers in the big 3 because they've played like nearly 800, 900 minutes together. The Suns are barely, their starting 5 is at like 270 something. Yeah. But when they have been there, they've been really good. So I can't write it off entirely. A lot of stars have to align, but it's not impossible either.
Yeah, I mean, the teams you named are built on continuity. They've been around together. I think what's tough for me is JJ says it, implies it, and Dan Bickley, a guy I really enjoy, but he was talking about, well, JJ saying it shouldn't be a disappointment. Bickley's talking about lower your expectations, I struggle with that, right? I get when healthy, this team can compete with anybody. If they had been healthy all year and they got those minutes, we're having a different conversation right now. But to Lindsay's point, the reality is they didn't have that. Health has not been part of this. And we knew that could be the pitfall with this team. But that, to me, I'm sold on early on championship. We're putting this team together to win it all. This is a team built for the playoffs. This is all these things. So I think you can both understand that the minutes thing, but also still be disappointed and or frustrated with where it is. And I feel like some people, not you, Gerald, but some people in this discussion act as if you shouldn't feel disappointed in what's going on. And I think it is possible to realize both. And that's where I'm at. I get that if they were healthy, different conversation, but I'm still disappointed that they're not legit in that conversation to be a contender.
It's disappointment in the lack of health. It's not necessarily disappointment in what this team could be.
Exactly.
I think, and there's a difference in that, right? Like saying you're disappointed in this team in the sense of like they just went out there and shat the bed. No. That's completely different than being disappointed that we just couldn't stay healthy. We didn't get to see enough of it. They didn't get enough time together. We're disappointed in, like, there's 2 totally different things.
Right. And I agree with that. But my thing is the disappointment with the health bleeds over into all of the other stuff way more often than it should. Yeah. Like, there's a reason why, like, the turnovers are super frustrating. There are a lot of turnovers that they make that it's like, what the hell were they doing on that play? But some of them are a product of not having the time on the floor together to work through some of those kinks like that. Yeah. You need that. That's like we saw the Clippers when they brought James Harden. They started like 0-6 or something like that. They were not a good team at that point, but they worked through a lot of those feeling out processes and they got a lot better. So I want the Suns to be in that same position. I think they've shown that they can get there. But for me, like when you let disappointment about things that are out of the player's control, like health, bleed over into Bradley Beal sucks, why did we trade for him?
You're too far.
That's the type of shit that I just like the trying to have this retrospective view of like, we never should have traded for KD. We never should have traded for Bradley Beal. That shit's wild to me because it's like you see when they're out there what they're capable of being. It's stuff that's beyond their control that has limited this team's ceiling.
Yeah, I think my frustration is because we've seen those pockets of how good they can be.
We don't get enough of it.
Yeah,
Right.
and then the injuries happen, and it's like, damn, I know what they could be, and they're not that. Or, damn, what the hell happened to that fourth quarter because they were going so well and it fell off a cliff. But it's not. I can't begrudge any player for getting injured, especially the way this group has gotten injured this year. It's just weird things. It's not like Bradley Beal breaking his nose twice isn't because Bradley Beal's injury prone.
Right.
It's because some dude punched, it hit him in the face, on 2 different occasions, and it was fluke things. Book landing on some guy's foot multiple times this year isn't a Booker's injury prone. It's that shit happens in basketball, and unfortunately it happened multiple times. Like, I can't be mad at the individual for those things this year in any way. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where, like, you're watching a series and the first season was just a little but you power through it because you think it'll get better. And then the second season is great, and then they cancel it. That's what this feels like. But, like, over and over and over again.
Well, yeah, what were you watching?
Injury, they're back. Second season, great. Injury, canceled.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
It's just
they
like
haven't
a
been
vicious
canceled
cycle.
yet. Let's make that clear.
No, I'm just saying it feels like a vicious cycle over and over and over. Like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to get off the ride.
I get it.
But, it's okay.
And
Michelob ULTRA is there for us, you guys.
No.
Sorry, did you have something else? you
No,
wanted
I was
to
just
add
going to
before
plug.
moved
I
on?
was just going to plug my newsletter since we hadn't yet.
Go ahead.
I did write about that. If you're interested in hearing my thoughts,
So sassy.
well, we haven't plugged it. So I really do feel like I'm having a hard time figuring this team out because there's such a disparity between both ends of the spectrum that they play on. They play phenomenal basketball for 3 of the 4 quarters last night. Then you have the fourth quarter. I'm having a hard time reconciling the two. So I did my best in a newsletter to try and figure out who are the Phoenix Suns? What is their identity? What can we expect from them? Yes, Shane.
Do you think that the spectrum is going to either collapse or stay on one side in the playoffs? Because one thing that I've been talking about is Kevin Durant is like some of the mistakes he makes and some of the games he has are maddening. And it just seems like either he's tired, which people use as washed, or he just doesn't care. Like, he's very careless with the ball. But I think that we're going to see a completely different Durant in the playoffs. Do you think that?
I think so. And I hope so, because like some of the turnovers going through the film of just the last few games after the All-Star break, some of the turnovers, like he does this, it feels like once a game where he'll go up and the ball will just kind of come out of his hands of his own. It won't be like stripped or anything. But he has, like, since the Nets days, I went back and watched film of him with the Nets and looked through his turnovers. And it was kind of a similar weird situation, but like everything else that he does more than makes up for that. And I think in the playoffs, we'll see that again. We saw it last night, even on a night where he didn't shoot the ball well, he made the ones that mattered and dominated the game when it matters. And that's why, like, this team does have a high playoff ceiling still, because we talk about how their offense devolves too much into ISO ball. In the playoffs, you need guys that can do that in a pinch. And they have 3 bucket getters who can do that against any mismatch. So I do think they are well suited for a playoff series in that way.
But again, it's if injuries,
Yes.
stay at bay. By the way, Gerald Bourguet's newsletter, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories.
It's delicious.
All taste. Sign up for it today.
Ultra. Also, if you're not really into beer, Michelob Ultra also has Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer Essential Collection, and these are made with coconut water and real fruit juice, so you know it's always going to have a refreshing and superior taste. Plus, that one is only 90 calories and has 0 added sugar. We love that. Head on over to MichelobUltra.com right now to find out how you can win superior NBA prizes and to find a Michelob Ultra near you. It's only worth it if you enjoy it, and we ask that you enjoy responsibly. Also, don't leave those prizes on the table, y'all. I feel like they're trying to hook you up with some good stuff, so go check it out.
Sunday. Oh, I do. Sorry, there we go. Sunday. It's the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway. I'm excited. I get to go to my first NASCAR event this weekend. I'm going to be out there Sunday. We were out at that track last month. Unbelievable venue. out there. I'd never been out there. Loved it. Can't wait to see what race day is like out there. And if you guys want to experience it for yourself, March 8th through the 10th, it's going to be the best in class fan experience. It's going to be the race's toughest drivers.
Oh no.
Hey, shut up, mustache behind the back.
Do we need to start this ad over?
Yes. Sunday, the Shredders Children 500 at Phoenix Raceway. Go out there. It is the spring break at Phoenix Raceway. It's the perfect introduction to NASCAR with affordable ticket pricing for families. Whether you're a diehard racing fan or simply looking for a fantastic day out, this event promises fun for everyone, from live entertainment, fan hospitality areas, and immersive infield experiences. Get your tickets to the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway. March 8th through the 10th promises a weekend of good vibes for the whole family. Get your reserved grandstand tickets now at phoenixraceway.com. And Shane, screw you.
Oh, no.
I know there were a couple people in the chat in that last segment who were like, "You're crushing our dreams and our hopes."
That's crazy.
When you said that you're not entirely sure that they're a title contender.
That's
right?
crazy to me because I get accused on Twitter of being too optimistic.
Yeah, but that's because Twitter is just
it's
Twitter.
I don't understand how it can be both.
Twitter. Our chat is not Twitter.
Gerald,
Our
I
chat
would just
is cool,
I would
calm,
just
collected. Sometimes,
Gerald, just
and they're
shut up
always
and
cool.
speak, Gerald.
Okay, I'll try.
What did you say, Shane? I missed it.
Come
He
on.
pulled a shut up and dribble, but since my job is to speak, it was shut up and speak.
There you go.
Gerald, have you not learned that it's half the people you're to please and half the people you're to piss off, no matter what you say?
Well, I'm just confused because I felt like me saying on Twitter, I can't write this team off yet. It's not over. They can still get there. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? It's over. And then here in the chat, I'm like, I don't see them winning a title, but they can get here. And you're crushing our hopes and dreams. I don't get it.
We don't want you to say that part out loud. Like, that's too much out loud.
I'm being honest. If you ask me who's going to win the title,
that's too honest.
that's what I would say. I'm sorry.
But don't worry, everybody. We got one guy who's on our side, at least when it comes to being the top team in the West.
This is not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm going to do it on the West especially. I got Boston in the East, and in the West, I have the Phoenix Suns.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's what I wanted. That wow right there that you gave me is what is going to do it. I feel like for them, they've been struggling the season. Obviously, their fourth quarter struggles, but I don't think they'll stand pat. I think Royce O'Neal was a sneaky pickup. I also think that Phoenix is built for the playoffs. And Kevin Durant, I just feel like he won't have the best season per se, but I still feel like he's one of the best players, if not the best player in the game. So I just trust him in the playoffs. I trust Booker in the playoffs. Obviously, Brad Beal has been a perfect third option, playing off of those two. I don't even want to call him a third option. He does a great job playing off of those two. And then you have, I think they're not done. I'll just say that. I don't think they're done yet. And I think they can make a run.
There you go.
He's right.
I love Jamal Crawford. He's one of my faves. So I'm going to roll with Jamal Crawford on this one.
I love that he called in from
He's
his
saying
hotel
the
room.
same shit I'm saying.
No, it's different, Gerald.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, but he mentioned Royce and Booker.
I did that as well.
He's Jamal Crawford, though.
Well, that's fair. That's totally fair. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Look, can they win? Yes. Will they win? I mean, let's be honest. You're still getting not even a 1 in 16 chance now. What is it? A 1 in 20 chance based on the play-in. And like Lindsay said that yesterday, that's 50-50 right there.
Exactly.
But I mean, honestly, so yeah, nobody's a lock. I mean, nobody ever is. So to say they have a chance, but you're not feeling good about it is about the fairest assessment you can have here.
Yeah.
And I don't think what Jamal is saying is crazy out of pocket. Could they wind up in the finals against the Celtics? Sure. Depends on what the draw is. Who do they get?
Yeah.
What do the injuries look like for everybody else? What do the injuries look like for the Suns? I mean, we saw in the finals run that injuries have a big impact on the playoffs. And so how does it play out? There's so many factors that to confidently say, yes, this team's a title contender, it seems crazy to me right now. I mean, and only a handful, I think you can say it, based on experience playing together and experience playing together in the playoffs, where you could go, I feel comfortable enough saying that this team could win.
Yeah, I mean, that's the state of the West right now. Like I've said, I feel like all 8 teams, you can make a case for them getting to the conference finals, and all 8, you can make a case they go home in the first round. Like it's too early for me to say because we don't know who's going to be healthy, who's not. But I do feel good if the Suns can just get Booker back and not have any more setbacks on the injury front. They do have a chance of going toe-to-toe with anybody in the West.
I mean, it's crazy. The Lakers and the Warriors could both be out before the play-in,
Right.
like when the play-in ends.
Yeah.
Like, and those were 2 teams that people were like, well, they might have a chance. Like,
Yeah.
and now they're like, we're going to likely be 9-10 in this thing. Like, the West is brutal. So I don't even, if I were a Nuggets fan or, I wouldn't feel confident. Minnesota fans, it's been fun. The OKC fans, it's been fun, but you can't feel confident going in, even though you're 1-2. This is going to be a bloodbath in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever gets out may not have enough left to beat an Eastern Conference team because they've just gone through the gauntlet.
From a pure like just basketball fan though, it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some amazing matchups.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the Thunder can do as like the young team that's been dominating everybody. Like Anthony Edwards in the playoffs, he showed against the Nuggets last year. He can be that guy. Now add another year under his belt. Team USA experience, that's going to be, and a really good defense behind him. I mean, every Western Conference matchup is going to be a lot of fun. And like you said, I will struggle making my predictions for each series this year because it's going to be tough.
I do anyways.
But we'll be here for you guys every step of the way. It'll be a lot of fun one way or the other because we have each other. And really, at the end of the day, isn't it the friends we meet along the way?
No.
That is the real prize?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Tiny Tim.
Wow.
Tiptoe
Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Sick and everything.
We appreciate you. We will be back tomorrow with a pregame show and a postgame show. So plan to come hang out with us. And until we see you then, be sure to give the show a follow on social at PHNX_Suns. You can also follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Saul, Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald McKay. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
I know what the Suns' secret announcement tomorrow is. I'm being named mascot coordinator and head of all things history. Ahoy, hoy!
We all silly like the mayor.